Hola, SAP developers. Welcome to this session, part of the TOEFL 2025 integration track. Please feel free to drop us your questions on the chat window as we'll be monitoring it, and we will answer some questions there, but we also have a special Q&A section after the presentation. So as integration developers, it is important for our integrations to run smoothly, right? As they are business critical generally. And today we're lucky enough to have Marcus, who is a product manager part of SAP Cloud ALM, and he will share with us exactly that, how we can leverage SAP Cloud ALM to monitor our integrations, for example, in cloud integration. Without any further delay, hola, Marcus, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the nice introduction, Antonio. As said, I will guide you through this session about SAP Cloud ALM integration monitoring and context for the SAP Integration Suite, especially for the cloud integration application today. With me, I have a small presentation to show you a small overview about the application itself, SAP Cloud ALM. I will introduce you to integration and exception monitoring, as well as to health monitoring, and I will give you a short outlook for the next year, what we have planned so far. With that, we will start with a small overview about SAP Cloud ALM. As you all know, customers need end-to-end observability across, in the meantime, cloud and on-premise landscapes for SAP and non-SAP, and all customers, partners, and SAP operations do need some end-to-end monitoring. For that, we have so-called monitoring use cases established within SAP Cloud ALM to cover all the operation aspects for you. We can monitor business processes, we can monitor integration aspects and user experience, exceptions, and we have also automations available where you can choose from what should be executed if an alert is raised somewhere. Now, what is SAP Cloud ALM for operations? It's a whole suite where we connect each and every SAP service product towards, and we can choose from different applications and different layers to do certain activities. As you can see, we have on the left-hand side a so-called inbound integration. That means we collect data from SAP services and non-SAP services. We have a so-called problem detection section. Those are our main use cases which are available. As I said, we have different use cases available for all aspects in the operations part. In the middle, you can see our so-called intelligent event processing, where we have a problem routing in the end. And on the right-hand side, you can see what to do in a case of problem resolution. And we have then also some outbound integrations available, where you can create tickets, where you can create tasks in certain applications, where you can send out emails, you can trigger chat notifications, and you can also trigger operations flow in the end. With that, I want to show you a few numbers from 2024. In 2024, we had around 3,500 live customers in SAP Cloud ALM for operations. That means in the end, 3,500 customers are using our use cases day by day for their operational business. We sent out 24 million notifications and incidents created in 2024. Those includes, as said, incidents in the incident management systems, email notifications, or job notifications. Beside that, we collected 30 billion health monitoring metrics in the complete year. So here you can see that we can also handle huge data volumes and serve all our customers very well with SAP Cloud ALM. In the meantime, 90 plus SAP products are supported by the different use cases in SAP Cloud ALM, and it's constantly expanding. So we try to deliver in each quarter more and more supported SAP products, so that you can expect that in the future all major products are supported by SAP Cloud ALM. You can find the details about available or supported products in our expert portal. Antonio will share that later via the chat. Let's come to integration and exception monitoring. What is integration and exception monitoring about? We try to fetch simply message artifacts from all SAP applications around SAP Cloud ALM. That means in the end, we connect, for example, SAP SuccessFactors or SAP S/4HANA Cloud towards SAP Cloud ALM. We collect then data artifacts from those products, and we visualize this in our monitoring UI, where you then can do an ad hoc monitoring in the application, or you can simply get notified if there is a certain integration artifact which is in an error state. You can then drill down into this single instance, and you can do further root cause analysis in the application itself. In the meantime, we can also support non-SAP products. We established here a public API, which is available for you as a customer. And you can use it to simply integrate also non-SAP cloud products and non-SAP on-premise products, for example. To mention that, to use this public API for non-SAP integration, you have to do a small development on your side. So we don't deliver here any development scripts out of the box. What can you expect from the application itself? We have on the first-hand side, as I said already, a monitoring functionality. That means you can go into the application, can get an overview about your integrations which are running in your landscape. We have a so-called business objects monitoring UI. This is especially built for master data related replication issues. We have a so-called searching functionality or tracking functionality in our application embedded. Here you can simply search for certain attributes at technical or business characteristic level to simply find messages or integration artifacts for certain aspects. And then, of course, we have the whole alerting functionality available. So that means you can define by yourself if a certain integration flow is in an error state, then an alert should be raised. And after that, a notification should be sent out via email or chat notification. Or you can trigger some workflows to trigger the resolution of this error. We want to be the one central end-to-end monitoring tool for hybrid landscapes within SAP. So SAP Cloud ALM is here also the tool which covers exactly this statement. And as you can see, we are constantly growing our application. So that means you can expect a lot more here also in the future from us. What means monitoring of messages, exceptions, and complete business scenarios? So we have a central monitoring of the whole customer IT landscape. You can already see on the right-hand side a few glimpses of the application. We are able to simply see the status of a certain instance, for example, the Integration Suite tenant. We can have an overview about business scenarios or business services, where a business service contains more than one business service in the business service type in the end, and we can simply drill down into the single messages to check the individual issues. And what we also have enabled is a contextual navigation to the local monitoring tools. For example, in the case of the Integration Suite, you can directly context-sensitive navigate to the MPLS message log information in the Integration Suite tenant. As said, we have also a search functionality available. Here you can track certain single messages, and you can also follow the flow in the end. Here you have the possibility to search for certain attributes in the cloud integration. For example, you can also use the custom header attributes to see for a customer number, for example, if this customer number is available in the already collected iFlow instances. Alerts and events triggered in SAP Cloud ALM are completely automatically. So that means as soon as you have configured that an alert should be raised when an iFlow is in an error state, then the alert will appear in the so-called alerting page. And here are some event actions also available, so that if an alert is raised, you can directly create a ticket in the ServiceNow system, for example. You can create tasks in Jira, for example. You can also use public APIs to push out the data to SAP Analytics Cloud or Grafana. Or you can even use operation automation, for example, SAP Build Process Automation, IRPA, and so on and so forth, to simply trigger some follow-up activities for an raised alert. As you can see here, we have the alert inbox on the left-hand side, and we have on the right-hand side the configuration capabilities for the automatic routing. So here we can simply define so-called event variants, what should happen when. You can create an event and you can say, if this event happens, then please send an email to a specific distribution list, for example, or it should directly start an operation flow, or it should simply send a chat notification to a certain chat group, or you can also create directly a ticket in ServiceNow. Let's switch to the first demo. I will just show how integration and exception monitoring looks like in the real world. So here, I will just do a refresh. Now we are logged onto a SAP Cloud ALM tenant. I will go to the operations part. Here you can now see all the different use cases. The start is business process monitoring, integration, exception monitoring. Later on, I will also show health monitoring, but now we will just start the application integration and exception monitoring. And as I already opened up the application several times, I already have here some cards available. If you start the application the first time, then you have to choose a scope from our so-called scope selection. Here you can search for different business services or also the single cloud services, and you can simply put all services you are interested in on this overview page. If you have to check certain services regularly, I can recommend to simply mark that service as a favorite, because the favorites are always there in the bottom of the page. As you can see right now, here are 3 business services are displayed. That means business service contains more than one cloud service in the end, and we have here integration suite with in the field service management replication, and we have an external workforce scenario, and we have also a non-SAP scenario created here. If I jump into one business service here, you can see that there is a data flow between those 3 entities, and on all 3 entities we have some errors. That's indicated by the red color here. I can simply press on the CPI tenant here and can then see, okay, there are 6 messages in error state and 14 messages in successful state. If I'm interested now, what are these 6 error messages, I can directly click on the category and I jump here into the single message view, where I can now also filter for the erroneous ones, for example, and I can then directly see, okay, what is the status text here? There's some kind of Java exception, and here is some kind of internal server error. If I'm now interested in more details, I can also click here on the message ID. I will then simply jump into our so-called single message view in the end, where I can also then directly jump to the local monitoring tool if it is enabled via single sign-on. Then I can simply show also this iFlow in the integration suite tenant itself. As you can see here, we have also some custom header attributes available. For example, here's the service order number. I will just copy this number to demonstrate also the tracking functionality. If I scroll down, you will see the related messages and exception part. And here we autocorrelate this kind of picture here. So that means we try to find all messages which are somehow correlating together in the end. If I'm now interested in a different message, for example, I want to see the field service management message, I can click on it and I will see in the bottom of the page also this particular message, and I can also say, okay, I'm interested now here in some more details. As you can see now, I'm looking at the message from the field service management tenant. With that, I will just jump back to the home page and will show to you the tracking page. I can go via this burger menu here to the tracking page. I have to choose the right service where I want to search for certain attributes. And I will just search now for this service order ID. And you can now see that I already found 2 messages here, and I can say from here, I want to see now also the details. And that's exactly the same UI what I showed a minute ago. And here you can also drill down into the single instances, and you can also say, I want to jump directly to the local monitoring tool from here. And we simply visualize also the matching attributes in which parameters we found the number in this case. To just conclude the demo with the alerting stuff, I want to go to the embedded alert inbox here. You can see now here are different alerts already raised. If I'm interested here in a certain alert, for example, for my CPI tenant, I can go here into this alert, and I have then now more options available. I can see since when this alert is happening. I can see which message is directly affected from this alert. I can also trigger here some actions. For example, I can send a manual email notification to someone. I can create manual a ticket, and those things can be also triggered automatically as soon as this error is detected. With that, I'll jump back to the home page and go back to the presentation to show you the next application which we have especially enabled for SAP Integration Suite. That's the so-called health monitoring application. Health monitoring is a lightweight so-called system monitoring application for all our cloud services. And in the meantime, also on-premise metrics are supported by health monitoring, but we will now focus here on the Integration Suite relevant metrics. Here we can simply see a so-called health and availability status across all cloud integration and API management tenants. Those are more technical metrics for cloud integration. And you can simply see some critical situations up front. You can maybe directly also be alerted if a certificate is expiring in a few days. So you can then react to those things quickly. Here you can see what things are being monitored at the moment. So as said, we have the certificate validity, what you can monitor. We have a consumption view for the database and the system resources, and you can also monitor the JMS resources here from this particular cloud integration tenant. We collect the data regularly every 5 minutes, and we persist this data for historical reasons then for 30 days in the end. For API management, we can at the moment only monitor the certificates. So there will maybe also come more in the future. With that, I will also jump shortly to the application itself. I will go back to the home page. We will just start the health monitoring application. And I already also selected an Integration Suite tenant. And as you can see there, we have some alerts open, and we have also one service in state warning. If I go now into this tenant itself, I can see here now there's one tenant is monitored, the data collection is enabled, and we have an 80% of health status. So here you can now see that there are some certificates already expired, and we can also see here the database resources. If I'm now interested in the details about the certificates, then I can also go here into the details. I can see since when the certificates are being expired. And if I'm now interested in some historical data, or I will simply also change the configuration, I can go here directly into this kind of configuration mode where I can then simply say, okay, when should I get a warning, and when should I get a critical incident here or alert? Then I can simply also adjust that things here to my needs. As said, You can then also check here the memory usage, the content size, the JMS resources, the JMS queues in the meantime also being supported. Here you can simply also monitor all the technical aspects for a certain cloud integration tenant. That's all I wanted to say for the health monitoring application. And with that, we jump back to the presentation. And I want to give you a small outlook about the integration and exception monitoring application. Here, we simply plan to enable the support for the so-called edge integration cell in early Q1 next year. We will also enable the content for the so-called BTP integration cell next year, and we will also enable the support for advanced event mesh, hopefully next year. Then there will come also more content until end of Q1 2026. It's SAP Commerce Cloud will be enabled, and also a smaller BTP applications for the omnichannel sales transfer and audits. From a feature point of view, we will definitely bring out an attribute-based access control for landscape objects. That means if you have more than one cloud integration tenant in your landscape, you will be able then simply to restrict also the access to this landscape objects or to this cloud integration tenants, so that not everybody can simply see each and every cloud integration tenant. For next year, we plan to do a few things in the configuration area. So here we try to leverage also AI capabilities for how to configure stuff in integration monitoring. We want to revamp our configuration UIs next year. We will simply also refine or enhance the authorization features. Means in the end, especially in the cloud integration case, we will also do fine granularity on the authorization concept here, that you can maybe also restrict some people on the package level, for example. We will enhance our business object page for this master data replication issues, and we want to also provide deeper insights through analytics, which are then in the end embedded in the integration monitoring application. As a short summary, I can tell you that SAP Cloud ALM is the strategic tool for central monitoring and alerting. We tried here simply to bring together the business and the IT monitoring for hybrid landscapes. We have a strong correlation of messages to provide an end-to-end visibility and integration exception monitoring. This will be also further improved in the future. We can track messages based on business context attributes throughout the whole landscape. We have this automated alerting for proactive monitoring, where we can also trigger outbound actions, and we have this so-called context-sensitive navigation to the local monitoring tools where we have local monitoring tools. In the case of cloud integration monitoring, for example, you can directly jump to the corresponding applications then in the cloud integration tenant, and we offer also a technical health monitoring for all the cloud services. With that, I'm at the end of the session, and maybe Antonio, there are already some questions available which can be answered.
There are actually, well, first of all, thank you very much. That was very interesting to learn all the different capabilities that Cloud ALM has with SAP Integration Suite, right? There are 3 questions in the chat, and I'll just go in order on how they were asked. So the first one is, can Cloud ALM store the payloads of failed messages?
No.
No.
It's very simple. It's because of data volume reasons. We don't store the data on Cloud ALM side due to memory consumption restrictions here in the end. As you might know, each and every SAP Cloud ALM customer is entitled to use 8 GB of HANA memory. And if we want to store now all the payload informations within SAP Cloud ALM, then this 8 GB will be reached very fast. So therefore, we decided to not have the payload completely transferred to Cloud ALM. Therefore, we offer simply this mechanism to use this custom header attributes, for example, where we can collect certain payload attributes then in the end.
But that you just share regarding custom header attributes, that's pretty powerful because in the end, like I've seen, like at least we had a couple of sessions, part of the 12S where they were using the header attributes in order to surface information, for example, for of that particular, like for example, sales order information, right? Or a purchase order ID, or maybe a customer ID, that sort of stuff. And then you can easily search by that in Cloud ALM. So that is incredibly powerful, right? So that should at least help you a lot with the troubleshooting there.
Exactly, that's the plan.
Exactly. The second question is, does our user also need accounts in the connected system? So, for example, SAP Integration Suite.
If you want to use the capability to jump to the necessary cloud integration tenant as a local monitoring tool, then yes, you need a user. If you are only interested to simply look into the data which is being collected by Cloud ALM, then you need only a user in Cloud ALM.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. Now, does Cloud ALM only use the data present in the connected system at the time of the usage? Or does Cloud ALM also store information that is no longer present in the connected system?
Especially in integration exception monitoring, we can store the data only for 14 days. So I think the MPLS data is a little bit longer available on the integration suite tenant. So it's also due to memory consumption restrictions that we have to simply aggregate the data after 14 days max. So that means those data is then available in a so-called aggregated store. And as I said, we want to introduce, hopefully next year, deeper insights through embedded analytics in the application, because as of today, you are not able to visualize this aggregated data within the application itself. Therefore, we offer some kind of outbound APIs where you can then simply push this data to a Grafana instance or to a SAP Cloud Analytics Cloud tenant, where you then can do historical visualizing the historical data.
Cool. Excellent, excellent. Those are the questions that are in the chat. I actually had two questions myself here that I've written down, but one of them you basically answered when you were talking about roadmap and what's coming regarding edge integration cell, right? Like in the end,
Yep.
Cloud ALM ends up enabling us to monitor our hybrid landscapes, right?
Yes.
And edge integration cell is part of it. So it's quite good to see that it is coming. So it's something that's being worked on. So
No, it's
thank
on the roadmap, and we are just waiting for the colleagues from the edge integration side to finish everything up. So, and hopefully we can release then the integration early
exciting.
Q1 next year.
Exciting, exciting. So apart from, so given that we're talking about another sort of a capability of integration suite, like you did mention to us that cloud integration monitoring is there, API management integration is also there, but are there any other services coming? And you also mentioned, for example, advanced event mesh, but then that got me thinking, like, what about event mesh? You know, there is an event mesh capability within SAP Integration Suite. So will we see that, for example, in Cloud ALM?
Yes.
Or okay,
Yes.
cool.
Advanced event match is the most asked application by the customers at the moment. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. But also at the SAP standard event mesh, which is part of the integration suite, will be supported then hopefully soon. And in the meantime, I guess we also already released the support for trading and partner management, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also a capability of integration suite. So you
Yes.
see, we have a very strong collaboration with the Integration Suite product management team, and we try to speed things up here also to get a good coverage for all these surrounding applications in the Integration Suite world.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's good. That's good to know. You did show us, for example, how at least there was a graphic there was multiple SAP services that integrate with Cloud ALM. But that got me thinking, what about CAP applications? Can you monitor a CAP application, for example, using Cloud ALM? Is there a simple way to push data to
You
Cloud
mean
ALM?
you mean now a custom BTP application, for example, right?
Yes, yes. Like for example,
Yes, it's possible. So therefore we offer some libraries which can be used to incorporate the data from your custom BTP application into health monitoring, for example. There's also a session scheduled on the TechEd in Berlin, where my colleagues Stephanie Jährich and Christian Niedermeyer will show that in a hands-on session how this works. So that's possible.
Excellent, excellent. You know what? This is actually very good that you mentioned, because that reminds me to share with everyone that yeah, like if you're going to tech it, be it Berlin or Australia or in Bangalore, do keep an eye for all the different sessions that are available there, because yeah, topics that we're talking here in the Torfest, it is possible that you might have, if you're attending one of the in-person events, like you can have hands-on experience via the different workshops on basically stuff that we're covering. Like, and that's a perfect example that Marcus just shared with us, right? And even if you're not able to attend in person, do keep an eye, for example, on the SAP Samples GitHub organization, because all of those workshops that will happen in person, they will be published in the SAP Samples organization. So if you're not able to attend in person, then you can at least have a look at the different exercises. And you might not be able to complete the exercises, but still it will give you an idea of, for example, something that's possible, right? So do keep an eye on it. I would say that it's a great learning opportunity. I myself, I'm going through, yeah, I will definitely check them out after, because there's a lot of learning opportunities there. So yeah, very good. I think that's it. We don't have any additional questions. So Marcus, first of all, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and expertise as part of this session. It was really
Thank you very
interesting.
much for having me.
Thank you. And I also want to thank the viewer, for joining the live event, or if you're watching the recording, for making it this far. So thank you very much I hope you enjoyed the session. And just a reminder that there is plenty for everyone to learn during the Torfest. Independent on the topic that you're interested in. It could be CAP, RAP, HANA, it could be machine learning, data analytics, AI, front end, whatever it is likely that we have sessions for you. So make sure to check out other sessions that are part of the event. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya, bye.